Welcome to our first episode of Data Words. In this series, I'm going to talk about various data concepts and how you could break them down in an easy to understand manner that you could share with anyone, whether it be at a dinner party or during an interview when you're wanting to explain how you could communicate technical skills in a very non-technical manner. So, today's episode, we are going to be talking about three of the key building aspects of modern data systems. We are going to be talking about ETL, data lakes, and data marts. So let's jump into it and learn how we could communicate well with non-technical people. All right, ETL. What does ETL stand for? And there's various combinations of these three letters. Extract, transform, and load. You could do it ETL like this, or you could do it ELT. Sometimes there's an little t and you have ETLT, and they're really just different combinations of how you get data from one place and put it in another. So again, this is extract, transform, and then load. So when you're explaining this to a non-technical audience, say, again, to your mom, say you're at a dinner party and they're like, well, what do you do for work? Well, I'm a data engineer. People just start glazing over, right? So here's a way that you explain ETL in a way that anybody can understand it. So let's say that you are doing a project at home and you're building shelves, right? You're going to start by making a list of materials that you need to get from Home Depot. When you go to Home Depot and get that list of materials, that's your extract process. You're extracting those materials that you need in order to do your project. Next, you're going to bring those materials home and you're going to transform them into parts that you could put together to build your shelves, right? So you're going to take your 2x4s, you're going to take your plywood, whatever the case may be, you're going to cut them down to the right sizes and you're transforming them and you're going to start putting them all together. You're going to add nails to secure things together, and you are transforming that wood, that raw material, which, in our case for the ETL would be our raw data. You're going to transform it into a set of shelves. And then finally, you're going to load those shelves into your home. So you're going to take those shelves that you maybe put together in your garage or in your shop, and you're going to carry them into your kitchen, and those shelves are going to live in your kitchen now, and that's where they're going to be loaded into. So just like you would load your transformed data into your data warehouse, you're going to load your shelves into your home. So business tip here, if your ETL is shaky, and then your dashboards and decisions are going to be too. So just like your shelves, if you don't, make sure that everything is square and nailed appropriately and secured appropriately, then those shelves are going to be kind of shaky and they're going to fall apart when you start putting stuff on them. Same thing with your data here. All right, so our next word is going to be data lake. A data lake is a centralized repository. It's kind of an area for all of your raw data of the land. It can store structured data, semi-structured data, unstructured data. It really doesn't matter whether it's JSON files, CSV files, even PDFs, right? Any of these types of data, Parquet files, can all be stored within your data lake. Let me kind of give you a visual of what this looks like when you're explaining it to, again, at your dinner party. Think of your data lake as your junk drawer at home, right? We all have that junk drawer where we're just piling crap in it, right? It's just a bunch of crap. Sometimes you're going to need it. Sometimes you're not. You don't know yet, so you're going to keep it. That's kind of what a data lake is. You are just shoving all of your business data into this data lake, and at some point down the line, you may find value from it, so you're going to keep it. And what happens when you finally sit down to do that art project with your kid that comes up at school? You're going to go into that junk drawer and pull out some of that junk and utilize it, and you're gonna find value in it. And so you're gonna dig through that drawer, grab the parts that you need, clean them up, and you're gonna turn them into something that's awesome and pretty and helps your daughter to make a good grade at school. So That's what a data lake is. Same thing. You are, again, just dumping in all these raw materials into your data lake, and then you're going to pull them out at some point and transform them into this report that provides business value, that helps the business to make a decision or to grow or to better sell to their customers. And the business tip here is going to be that data lakes are amazing for long-term storage and flexibility, but be careful about letting your data lake turn into a data swamp where it's just a bunch of crap, right? There needs to, just like your junk drawer at home, periodically you need to go through and comb through it and clean it out and get rid of the garbage. All right, word number 3 for this week, we have Data Mart. So what is a Data Mart? There's all these words: database, data warehouse, data lake, Data Mart. A data mart is a focused slice of your data warehouse. So it's just one piece. It is built specifically for a team or an area like marketing or finance or operations. And it's just that one specific piece of your data warehouse. Here's an analogy for this one. Your data warehouse, think of your data warehouse kind of like Walmart, right? Everybody knows what Walmart is. You go out to Walmart and it's this big super center. You've got clothes, you've got, food, you've got hardware, you've got, your outdoors area. So each one of those different areas would be your data mart. So you might go over to the hardware section and get a hammer. And, hardware would be like your marketing section, your marketing department. Your marketing might come to your marketing data mart and get lead information and compare it to and create some type of marketing campaign, right? And so that would be an analogy that you could use at your, again, at your dinner party or, with your parents as to what it is that you do with your career. And if you've built a really tailored data mart, you might even have a data mart that's specific to, say, the ice cream section at Walmart. So maybe it's not just the marketing department for your whole company. Maybe it's the marketing department for one product within your company. So you could even get really specific data marts, right? So the business tip here is, again, data marts really do a good job of narrowing the data down for specific departments and specific groups, and really helps them to be able to cut through a lot of the noise that's in your data warehouse that maybe they don't need. All right, so there you have it. You have 3 great examples with some great analogies as to how you could explain what you do to your parents, to at a dinner party, to just any business person that is interested in knowing what it is that you do in your career. And so really some of the basics: ETL, data marts, and data lakes. These are 3 things that come up all the time as a data engineer. So they're, essential concepts that you have to know and be able to have a good grasp of in order to move into the career as well. So you've got the language down. You should be able to explain them to anyone. So when you're sitting in an interview, you could explain to them how you would explain what an ETL process is to somebody that has no idea or have any technical skills at all. So you've got your data words, and what would you like to see me cover next? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to know, get your examples. I have some ideas, but I'm definitely open to other options. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And if you have other analogies that maybe you use, let me know. We'd all be happy to hear them and maybe utilize them in future episodes. So if this helped you to clarify in your mind what these 3 concepts are, be sure to like and subscribe for future data words. We'll be doing this series every week for a while, and I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. The extract piece, you are pulling data from various systems, from other databases, from APIs. If you don't know what API is, go back and check out that video. And spreadsheets, any spreadsheet, Google Sheets, Excel files, you name it, it is data that you could pull from it. You could transform it at that point. Once you have it, once you've extracted it, you could transform it. You could change it into a more accurate representation of what's going on. You could clean the data, make sure that the formats are in consistent formats, that all the dates look the same, 4-digit years, for example, versus 2-digit and 4-digit years. So you clean it. You calculate maybe new fields because you have some business logic that you need to add into it, or there may be some calculations that you need to add this is a good point at which to do those things. And maybe you filter out things that you just don't need as part of that data. So that's how we transform things. Next, you load it. So you are going to store it. This is where you're storing it somewhere, right? You are going to push that polished data usually into a database table. So you're going to load that data into that database table, and that database table usually lives within your data warehouse or your data lake, where it's going to be ready and cleaned for reporting purposes. Whole thing. It takes clean, curated, structured data and narrows it down just specifically for what that department's needs are, right? And so that they could make quick, fast decisions, build reporting that suits them specifically based on all that, terabytes of data that you may have in your data warehouse. So, again, that means CSVs, PDFs, really, media exports could be MP4s. It all lands within this data lake. And the goal is to store now and process later, a lot of times with a data lake. And